Wondering what books to read to spark your creativity, books that give you inspiration, books that help you work creatively. Hopefully these ideas will help you in whatever creative journey you are on. If I feel it in my body, I always think that that's also something that'll influence me when it comes to my creativity. These could be, for example, translated into knitting. Hi, I'm Pauliina, also known as Lina, and I'm a knitwear designer based in Helsinki, Finland. I design knitting patterns for your soul and create these knitting videos here on YouTube. Even if you are just a knitter, I did use air quotes for that because there's nothing just about being a knitter. It is a creative hobby. If you knit, you are a creative person, and I actually believe that all of us, all people are creative, some more, some less, some haven't found their way of expressing their creativity. It can come up in many ways in people. For me, it's designing knitting patterns and knitwear designs for other people to knit as well. And I do also enjoy writing a lot. If you've read my books, seen my books, A Little Book of Moon-inspired shawls and soothing stitches, you know that I also love to be creative with words, to write and to play with words. If you feel stuck, like I sometimes feel very stuck, and at other times it just seems that the ideas just keep bubbling up. So what do I do when I feel like I'm in a creative dry spell? Hopefully these ideas will help you in whatever creative journey you are on. And by being creative, I don't mean you need to be producing something creative. It's just, I think creativity is also linked to just feeling kind of the life force, life energy, curiosity. So these things are some things that can help you hopefully find your spark if you've lost it, or just give you more inspiration. And since this is just going to be mostly me talking, I decided to just have a little bit of fun with it and bring more knitwear into it. So I've got 5 categories. I'm going to be wearing 5 different shawls. So I hope you find that entertaining as well. The first group is books meant to be about the creative process and meant to help you onwards with that. I actually don't own a lot of those. I usually loan them from the library and of course need to return them once I'm done. But I do have 2 of Julia Cameron's books, and these are both in Finnish. Apparently, I think I got these from a second-hand store here. But The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron is one of the sort of creative industry standards, and for a very good reason. I've read through that. I've been to a course that went through that, and I still use some of the practices from that, and I'm kind of wanting to do it yet again. So that is, of course, more geared towards writing, but some of the lessons in there can help other creative people as well, like writing your morning pages, or taking yourself out on an artist date. Another popular book is Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic. I just found that reading that book really inspirational. It's again something that I've been wanting to reread. So they do their job quite well. The next category I personally have found to be inspiring and hope to make more use of in the future, and that is art books and photography books, or kind of the more traditional coffee table books. And I actually shared this one, Kusta Saksi Cosmos, in the video where I talked about my 5 favorite knitting books. I think this was the +1 in there, because this one was very inspiring. So Kusta Saksi is a Finnish artist who makes these incredible woven wall coverings and rugs. So I've been, I went to see his exhibition, I think 2-3 years ago, and I was so touched by it that I did something I don't often do and bought a book before leaving the museum. So just browsing through these, seeing color combinations, having thoughts, stories, words, images, textures, shapes pop up in your head, and they start working in your subconscious, even if you don't directly associate them later with having seen something. And another example I have here is Pohjolan Luma by Meri Mort. Now, this isn't an art book or a photography book as such. It goes through the seasonal changes here in the north from a sort of neo-pagan viewpoint, which is on its own is a topic that's very inspiring to me. But this one, it just has these really beautiful photos. Again, I think why I love this so much is because they kind of speak about and talk about the things that already inspire me, like nature and the sort of mystical realms. But the colors, textures, this is great for when I cannot, like outside is not the season I want to go in. It's very, very early spring. There are patches of snow still out there, but on the pages of this book, I can find summer, for example, if I want to seek out inspiration for that. And whenever I'm touched by something, when I feel something like in my body, looking at art or photos or something, hearing a poem, hearing a piece of music, if I feel it in my body, I always think that that's also something that'll influence me when it comes to my creativity. The third category of books that I wanted to mention are kind of storybooks and children's books. Now, I've got Andy Wilkes's and Anita Ganeri's Stories, and I'm not even actually sure if this is meant for children or just anyone. It has short stories around the different constellations in the night sky, and it comes with these really intensive, I'd say, art or intensive drawings. And while this art style is not my favorite kind of art style, I love the colors in it and love the sort of different shapes and textures that are used throughout here, which can be very inspiring. When I look at this, I'm starting to see how these could be, for example, translated into knitting. I'm not saying I'm gonna copy the paintings in knitted form, but they do give me ideas of stitch patterns to combine and so on and so forth. And the stories themselves, little sort of folklore tales, for example, can be really inspiring, since I design it where there's usually a story behind the knitting. It's not just a knitted item. Like this shawl here is the Fading Light shawl, and it was designed for the balsamic moon. So it has the different qualities that I associate with the balsamic moon. It has the moonlight, the beams, the wavy ebb and flow of the sea, i.e. our emotions, the frothy lace. So hearing an interesting little tale could be the spark for a whole new knitting design or whole new pattern. And the fourth category is vintage craft books and magazines. Now, I know I said in the beginning that inspirational books that are not craft books, but I'm kind of squeezing this in here. Things like this can give you unexpected color combinations, something that aren't that popular right now, but can be really juicy and something you want to work on. This one that I'm holding here is an old school book. one in a series of 3 books, I believe. And this one is about knitting and crochet. And it is in black and white, so it's not gonna give me much of color inspiration besides the cover. But just browsing through it, I came upon this picture, which shows a construction that could look really good on a shawl. Something different from the pie shawl, but still offering a full coverage, who knows? Maybe you could do several of these and work them into a shawl or back of a sweater. Not everything that you are inspired by will turn into an actual design or a knitted item or book or a piece of art that you're working on. That's not the point. The point is to keep the sort of creativity flowing within you. Different influences combine, and then something completely else is born out of those influences mixing in your mind and subconscious. I just think it's beneficial to inspire yourself, even if you're not looking for specific inspiration. So have a browse at your at flea markets and used bookstores near you for lots of inspiration, usually to be had quite inexpensively as well. The final and 5th category that I have is books from whatever else interests you. If that's gardening, then read and browse gardening books. Again, they're probably filled with lots of photos, drawings, color inspiration, mood inspiration. If it's cooking, the same goes for cookbooks. For me, it's kind of spiritual, non-religious books, and I have plenty of them. I've brought some here to show you. For when I was making a little book of moon-inspired shawls, one of the books I read was the Moon book, which offered the kind of knowledge I needed of the moon for that book, so very concretely. And again, the words and images played out in this and other books I read for reference influenced the designs themselves as well. When I was making Soothing Stitches, I browsed and read through crystal books, and this is the one I have at home. Again, it works pretty much like the art books. It has colors, textures, and words that inspire. For my writing especially, I've really enjoyed Danielle Dalsky's books and Instagram posts. Those work well too. But I'm recommending books mainly here so that you and I are sometimes offline as well. But Seasons of the Moon and Flame, that has sort of writing exercises and other exercises as well. And the last one that I'm going to show you is something I shared in one of my older vlogs. It's The Sage Huntress Lover Queen by Mara Branscombe. As you can see, I haven't even finished it. I think reading it up to here was enough, and then I needed to take a break, but I want to get back to this book. But this is nothing to do with creativity, and it's not directly related to anything that I'm designing, but just reading this book, within the first 10 pages, I'd had several ideas for full collections, series, specific individual patterns. I don't know what it was about it, but it unlocked something in me, and I think I'm ready to continue unlocking something new. The point is that if you want to be creative and inspired, don't just look at the books within the field where you're creative in. For you and me, it's probably knitting that we're talking about here. So don't just look at knitting books and knitting accounts and knitting blogs and knitting YouTube videos, but broaden your horizon. You never know where inspiration comes from. And like I've said a million times here, it's not meant to work as a direct road from inspiration to finished object. Sometimes that happens and it can feel really great, but most of the time it's just something that's within you working its way, molding, and then the idea just pops up. And there you go, you might not have any idea where it came from. If you have any books you think I might enjoy or other viewers of this video might enjoy, do leave them in the comments below. I'm always willing and ready and wanting to be more inspired and learn new things along the way as well. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon again. And if you're curious about the shawls that I was wearing throughout the video, I leave them all below so you can find them and the pattern as well. Also, any books that I've specifically mentioned will be listed below